Start recording. Going to focus stream now. Boom. All right, let me just change this music for myself. Right. So, first up, we've actually got let's move this down here. Turn the opacity up. Nice. Cool. Let me know if something is in the way. 4-day week, dude, super nice. We're gonna be doing a few switching around here. So Addy, is it Addy? ADI? Ingram Mac 10. Oh, by Adrian. Adrian, all right. Let's what is going on? This is so weird. My tablet is acting very strange. But yeah, here we are. The Mac 10. Classic weapon. So let's just scroll through and check out the presentation on this. This is a pretty cool angle, or light angle. Defcon, what's up, man? I would say that so there's this little thumbnail here. Hey Shannon, thank you. I'm doing pretty good. How are you? It's been a bit. Hope things are well. I mean, we were talking recently, but you know, if this is the Shannon I think it is. 13 months as well. Thank you very much. So visually, this is quite dark. Yeah, it's me. Cool. I call you Scooter Critiques. That's an inside joke. But yeah, so if we look at this weapon, I actually like the angle of the lighting here. I'm not a big fan of a black background, and I think in this one the background's a little bit better, but lighting wise it's very difficult to see, right? And you're really relying on just the reflectivity. Robert, stop. But material wise, it just doesn't feel like you've taken a full pass on it yet. Like you've got the base roughness for what you want to have here, and then it's just a matter of like getting the edge aging and the wear and the tear of like what happens with a gun. Like the dirtiness of the magazine feels very strange to me. It's very like cloudy. And then I think it's just presentation. The angles are pretty cool. Like this one, it starts way out here for whatever reason in the Marmoset viewer. So I think if you can get it to preset closer, and then really like think about it like a material ball, right? You're gonna want to have like a main light like you do here, shining on most of it, and it's starting to fall off in the end, and then like a secondary light or a backlight to kind of do that rim lighting and get you that extra color. And then I think it's just a matter of executing the geometry, executing on the shapes and the geometry a little bit more. You have some pretty hard edges on here, which you can see like, okay, that's a hard edge, that's a hard edge. Maybe there's one bevel there and one bevel there. So it's just more about like getting those nice softer edges like you're seeing here. What happened to my hand? It's just a glove for the tablet. These are robotic. These are completely robotic hands. These two fingers are completely fake. No. Alexander, how you doing, man? Robotics, man. They're the future. Empire Industries. New haircut? No, my hair's growing out. you guys are getting me distracted. Anyways, hopefully that was good, Adrian. It's mainly about the material definition, and then second to that, I would say the way you're modeling your weaponry and where the edges are like kind of softer. Yeah, Madu got those fingers. Or where the edges are really sharp is where it kind of gives that digital geometry vibe. So watch out for that. Try and go for more of like the realistic, the bevels where you expect them. Yeah, and the scratches, the age and wear, like storytelling on the surface, right? So we've got Tim. Is it Nias? These look pretty cool, man. So let's paste these in here. Oh, that's not working at all. There we go. Huh. Copy image. Why? Dude, sometimes images do not copy. I'm not sure why. Super weird. No, see what? No. Copy image. Paste. No paste. Looks really nice though. I think if we look at the angles that you have here, there looks to be a few different camera angles, and the one that I really like is this one. Let's see if I can't do it like this. There we go. No? No. No idea. Does it work here? It does. Nice. Okay, I'm gonna just scale this in here. I actually really like this angle particularly versus the other four, which if I drag this up, you can see there are four here. This one seems to be the most engaging to me. I've always been kind of a bit of a fan of the whole the cinematic framing, right? Where you trim the top and bottom off. I'm just gonna eyeball this, but of course those would be more particular. Is there a bird? Is there? There is. Look at this guy. I recently got a widescreen monitor. Really cool scene though, definitely. Really cool. There's a lot going on. When you look at, so when I look at this image, what I'm seeing is you've got elements here, right, that are really close. You've got this element here, this one here. This I would all include as one, and then this one in the back, right? And I think, nice. These shapes are really helping me out. You have many guys. Yes. There's a lot of guys just hanging out here. So it's a matter of like, what do you want to be focusing on, right? And when you look at this image, the tree actually and the main building here are what are fighting for dominance right now in the composition. And I would say even this one, maybe even more so, just because the value, it's so much darker here. So there's some things you could do with that where it's like maybe you take this one and you bring it a little bit closer to you, that way, and maybe more to the side. But I feel like the focus is supposed to be this house and the boat, right? 1% coconut. But there's a few framing things to look at as well. So if we look at it like this, with this grid on here, you can see like, okay, the focus is here, and this tree is almost on a focus point here. So it feels like you're trying to look at either or. Some other things to think about are, I know these are both on the same like distance plane, so it's good to bring those in here. But if you wash this out like this, actually, let's dupe this first. Man, I think I might be able to do this better with my mouse, strangely enough. Yeah, I think maybe the tree is just conflicting too much with the scene. Like if you got rid of the tree, then you would want to you'd actually want to move this house maybe somewhere around here. And then even then, you would want to you'd want to push the tree back or the house back. Let me do this here. Because you've got some fogginess going on. The fog also is one color, whereas like I think as you go lower, if you just had like a height to it, like a different color, that'd be pretty useful. Just because you get some differences in the space and a sense of depth in another axis. So let's just like put a mask on here real quick. Because what I'm expecting is you push everything back except for the house using the fog. And the further back it goes, right, it gets even foggier. Let's see if we can't fake that. We'll just erase this one. Because like these elements are what's causing conflict with your composition. And maybe we even can add like a color to it. I don't know if this is gonna, because there's not really any color in the fog, so we'll just make something up. But it's really about kind of pushing those elements back and forth. I really do think either moving the tree here and getting rid of the house in the back, or moving the house here and getting rid of the tree. That way there's just less conflicting. And this house as well, I would say you got to move it to the side. Move it more. Let's see here. I'll bring this up here. If you move it maybe more about here. It's just a nudge, right? And then you take these the foliage that's up close, and you just need to put some depth of field on there. And that's just the compositional stuff. If we go back and like look at just the elements that are here, making sure that things don't get too dark, and looking at what could be coming through that's metal that could help separate this out a bit from the wood, and looking at your roughness values and seeing where you can separate those, because maybe like these lily pads are actually quite wet looking, but they don't look that way currently. Might be conflicting imagery wise, so you're gonna have to make that call once you start looking at it. But yeah, some dappled light would be really cool. Like you see, you have this spot of light here. If that was like actually a ray, you screen it, and then you just kind of, if there was light shafts that kind of showed you the dappled light, that'd be really cool. I mean, you could even do this, that way you see more of it. But I think you get the idea. There's just some elements that need to be kind of worked on. And don't be afraid to add some more saturation in the wood material, depending on like how it looks in the overall image. Some Madu lights, some dappled lights. Pretty cool though. Nice scene so far. And this, let's see if this pastes. No, man, what the heck is going on? Am I just not? Do you have no paste memory for whatever reason? That is super weird. But yeah, Tim, this looks dope, man. Definitely keep it up. Okay, next up we've got Mustafa. So Mustafa, I'd like to hear your input about this environment in terms of overall composition and models, material quality, and things that I might do to improve it more. And do you think I could get a job at a studio with the quality of as a 3D environment artist? Let's check this out. Okay, let's lower this. I'm sorry, I'm gonna just kind of scrub through this. These camera movements are really nice. Ooh. Oh, this is cool. Oh man, Fuzel's gonna love this. I swear she has those. Or something close. Oh man, this looks... Dude, this is really cool. So there's a few shots where the frame rate feels different. I don't know if that's actually the case. You can kind of negate that by if you render per frame. So if you output a... What's up, man? It's good to see you. If you output every frame as a PNG, JoJo's, isn't it? It's super beautiful. This is really awesome. If you're outputting every frame as a PNG and then you recompile it with just like Adobe encoder or whatnot, you can just turn it into a video. You'll get a consistent frame rate throughout. It just felt like there was a few frames where it felt, or a few shots where the frame rate felt slower. The other thing I would say is maybe like this shot here. You can see of Baghdad. That text is kind of hard to read against the contrast. Z, what's up? Against the contrast of the backdrop. And I think if you were to pick a shot, maybe like this one, and put the text here or something like that. Or just a shot that's like a good introductory shot that's not too dark. Like you could do something like you could do this shot where it's going along a wall and then you're reading the text against the wall, and then the text goes away, and then you reveal this shot. You know? It's kind of like this shot where you have where it comes from behind something. It could be a longer shot of just the wall and text, and then it goes to this view. It's just to make the text easier to read. The details on this look really good. It kind of breaks down a little bit from the wall to the ground, like this transition here. You can negate that a bit by like skirt geometry, which it looks like there's a little bit of. You're just not pulling it out far enough onto the ground. And the ground feels a bit flat. I don't know if this is Unreal 5 or not. Oh, interesting. I wonder why I feel like the frame rate's different. Overall though, like this shot here, super cool. I kind of wish this would not be here. It's UE4. Okay. Man, these windows look super nice though. Really like that. And the attention to detail with the damage, really good. Just like breaking some of those off. So this is a collaboration. I would say that you should be able to get a job in games showing something like this, you know? It's super nice. It's very nice. There's a little bit of water here, or maybe this is a little windier than I was expecting. But maybe the references show it windy like that. I was gonna say, I feel like maybe if that bucket was here, pacing wise with the propping against the walls, it would feel a little bit more filled of a scene. I don't know if that makes sense, but it feels like it's a bit empty here. But just moving the bucket here, or adding like another like piece of wood leaned up against the wall, any ways to break up the walls a bit will help. But this is really nice. Nice addition with the little tiny rocks there as well. Is it pretty normal to not have seats in this scenario? Are people usually sitting on like the rug or the carpet? This feels a little dark in here. I'm not sure if it's like if you need to capture a probe here to like capture the reflections just to get the bounce in there correctly. because it's maybe the metalness is doing it. Oh man, I love this shot here. This is really nice. Oh, thanks, man. I'm glad that could help you. Yeah, nice work of the paint as well. Yeah, this is cool. And there's some like aging and drippage and kind of the dirtiness in certain areas, but it's not overdone and it's not like it's not too dark. It's quite good. Maybe if there was different values between some of the buildings, that would be nice, just so that you can see more separation between the two. Because the fog's only going to take you, like the atmosphere is only going to take you so far. Ben, what's up, man? Thanks for the 14 months. Really nice. Ooh, I always love these lighting only views as well. You can really see where all the details at. Very nice. Oh, nice. I really enjoy when people can show some of this type of tech. Like showing it working, and yeah, that's super nice. So you did, it looks like vertex painting that's affecting a blend between two materials that have either display, it looks like it's not displacement, it looks like it's parallax occlusion mapping. So it's really filling in those crevices and kind of coming forward visually, even though it's still flat. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's cool. That's super nice. Oh, and you can change the paint colors too. Very, very cool. Wow, you guys had this planned out quite early, exactly how you wanted it. Very cool. Yeah, I think this, I mean, you should be able to get into some interviews with this. Contact shadows, nice. Dude, the new shadows in Unreal 5 are very nice for this type of stuff. Anyways, very good. Very good stuff. Just any of the things I'd noted previously. Oh, I see an edge decal here now. So the thing I would say with the edge decal is just make sure that color-wise it feels like it's the same material. This might work just because it's maybe as the material chips away, it becomes lighter. Ooh, I like this surface. I know exactly what's going on there. Oh, it's cool. Anywho, very nice work. Very, very nice work. All right. How you doing, Curious? Bronze gear, how's it going? Let's see. Looking for general optimization tips and feedback on my hero prop. Currently at 29,620 triangles. Let's open this up and see what's going on. So, what is this? Oh, I was like, what is that one? So I mean the amount of detail on the bottom at the feet might be a little high. Let's see if, do you have this without a wireframe that you could post in chat? Because I'm curious, like, you're putting a lot of detail in here, and you're saying it's a hero prop, but hero props usually just mean that you get away with a little bit more geometry that you can bake on as well, right? It's not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily give you the ability to just model it all in. Hero props usually just mean that they're allowing for either more textures or mesh elements to be added on top. Like this type of detail, I would say, is more wasteful. Okay, let's see what this is. The image link. All right. Yeah, so if we look at this, right, you have some hard edges here, and then these bevels look nice, but all these hard edges that are in these areas, this area is quite thin as well. But I would say like all of these details you could bake down and cut the geometry count by a lot and not notice, right? So just because it's hero prop, don't think that that just means more geo. It just means that like that curve should look pretty good. Like I would put all of your geometry into these curves. right? Wherever you're going to pay for extra geo. And then with these areas, like these can be higher because you're going to do the nails individually, but you want to make sure that those are like also, how would you say? That those are also baking down to in a way where you're saving on geo so that you can put the geometry where it counts. I think making it a hero prop just means that you can add more unique textures to it. Or you can kind of push the amount of elements that are here. Casey's asking, do you feel that this generation onwards triangle budgets will make any difference anymore? I mean, that's why I'm saying textures, right? Because if it's a hero asset, more often than not, they're allowing you to use shaders that can utilize more textures. And in that sense, you're still baking normals. Maybe when I say more textures, the normal is just higher res as well. And you have maybe more detail normal maps to accompany the asset. But a hero prop arguably just means that you're allocated more time to make the asset in production, and that it's more of a centerpiece to a shot or a scene, right? So if this is like the main piece in the scene, then of course it's going to be getting the most attention or time allocated to it to create it. But I think it's still a little too early to say from this gen onwards. Honestly, you could go pretty crazy with triangles already, and it was more about memory and streaming it in. Yeah, because they were already insane. Like terrain was already in the millions before things like nanite were presented. But hopefully that answers your questions. While you're working on this, if you're like starting to feel a little bit of tiredness from it, right? Because I know you've been working on the high poly for this for a while. Feel free to just put a roughness level on there, and like a certain amount of roughness per element. That's kind of roughly where you're expecting it, roughly roughness. And then a color value that helps you see the big picture of the asset, so you're not just staring at gray all day. That can tire you out at times. But yeah, hopefully that helps, Bronze. Eric is next. Eric, good sir. Let's see what's going on here. If that mesh was yours, how many materials, Unreal Engine speaking, would you have on it? Maybe 2. Depending on if you combine the metal with other materials. Because I would put all the metal elements in one shader and then all of the other stuff in another, right? Or you could build the shader, a more expensive shader that supports 2 material types inside of it, and then it's about doing that. Or it's masks, and if it's masks, then it's bringing in multiple shaders, but it's one material in that sense. It depends, Casey. the age-old answer. All right, so Eric, working on this. Hey Jeremy, this tree is a stand-in and the scene is very work in progress, but I wanted to get some input on the overall composition and what else you might need to add to it. Cool. I mean, this looks pretty cool. Let's go ahead and just kind of grab this if we can. Let's see if it'll paste. Oh, right. Oh, thank God. So the tree is work in progress, like you're saying, but up here it's quite dark. Or the tree is a stand-in. So whenever you get your tree in here, hey, have a great evening, Bronze. Shokri, what's up, man? How you doing? Pleasure to have you. So with these branches, whenever you do get your tree in here, the tree that you guys or you're making, just make sure that it's not so dark. I'm not sure what's causing it to be so dark. It kind of looks like Are you doing real-time lighting, or are you doing baked lighting? Because a lot of it's dynamic. Okay, so your ambient color, is this UE 5 or 4? Catching signal on the mountains. Awesome. Yeah, so you're just gonna want to make sure that you're catching ambient light in your shadows, and that'll help like negate the darkening of the branches as well, because it's quite dark there, which is really weird because this isn't dark. So I'm not sure why these aren't getting. You have any videos on baked versus real-time lighting? There's some good stuff out there already. Might want to try screen space global illumination for now. See, I'm saying that this is really dark, but then at the same time, I'm expecting this side to be dark as well. Because when you look at this, it's like I expect this this whole side here, even all of this, actually, kind of like, I'm just gonna do it like that for now. We're just gonna eyeball this for speed's sake. So taking this element, if this was darker, right, you're gonna get a better sense of the space. We'll just do this to simulate bounce lighting. Hitting the ground and coming back up onto the rock. Well, you can see how much more those elements pop out, and you get an understanding of where the stairs are at, like, or that this is actually a wall facing you. We can go in and actually make it even a little bit darker, maybe a little too extreme, because you want that in the steps as well. Let's see if we can't. You know what I mean? Like, you want to see that there's stairs here. You want to know that that's what you're looking at. Man, that was really shoddy. But I think you know what I mean. You want to really tone that down. You just want to be able to understand that, okay, these are steps. Like, these are layers on layers, so that you can see the composition a little bit more. And then with these areas, like, of course they're blasting out right now. Like, if I go and make the background, let's go with like that empire pink. Backgrounds is empire pink. Let's right click on this layer, or double click, sorry. Bring this up, and then just look at like where you're clipping in your dark values, and that'll tell you a whole lot about like where you don't have information. So you need to get some type of color information in there, which just means that those pixels are just too dark right now. So you have no room to play with if you need to bring the brightness up of the room in post. See, there's nowhere for it to go, so it just keeps going until it breaks, basically. You can never get it bright enough. But yeah, overall I would say it looks pretty interesting though. On a portfolio project, it pretty much always just generate them automatically. I have a question. How important is it to create UV manual light maps instead of generating them? It depends the resolution of the light map or the complexity of the asset. If you're noticing a lot of issues with like slight amounts of pixel bleed in your light maps, then you might need to go in and actually do it yourself. But I mean, that's not all that complicated, I don't think. It's just repacking and making sure that it's not halfway on some pixels and halfway on others. If you know what the resolution of the light map's going to be, you can anticipate how many pixels. Just up the resolution. Yeah, you can just up the resolution, but that's not acceptable in the industry. It's making that buffer where the edge issue is happening with the light map. It's just making it smaller. It's still there. You're just making it more accurately there versus bleeding in, right? But for a portfolio, sure, turn it up, but you need to understand and know why that's happening. Are there still engines that work in light maps based static lighting and require such manual work? Yeah, I mean, it depends on like what SKU you're building for. If you need light maps to begin with, If you aren't allowed real-time lights at all, for example, right? Um, does that answer all your questions, Eric? Compositionally, it looks pretty interesting. I would like to see maybe a little bit of rays coming through, or like little dust particles floating around when you get to the polish point. All right, let's look at this robot here. This looks pretty cool. This image is huge. It's like a wide magazine. Oh no, it's a normal magazine. Wait, what? I'm just seeing it long, I guess, like that. Dang, that's difficult. Because I almost want to say presenting it more like this, and then maybe another image to the side might look nicer. I don't know. Hey, no problem, Eric. The mech is quite interesting. This area up here is really cool. I would like to see it in some type of a stance, like a dynamic shape. I do like that you have a character here to understand like the scale or the scope of the mech or robot. Nice sensory tech here. So it looks like some anti-defense systems or sensory systems on the bottom here. 4-meter tall beasts. And what you need to know. Pandu, hey, have a good one. But I mean, this looks pretty cool. I think it comes down to understanding what materials are made out of what, and really like breaking that. Right now, it feels very rigid to me, the way that everything is kind of positioned. The hands are very stiff looking. Johan, I have no idea actually. I mean, a lot of engines have switched to some form of a real-time solution because they want like a day-night time cycle, right? But it all depends on what the game's for. Not even console-wise, but what it's designed for. See, material-wise, this protection plate thing here, I'm not sure what that surface is made out of. It doesn't feel right. There's a lot of like strange panel lines as well, and what is it, rivets or areas where it's been bolted in that I don't understand why it's there. Like usually have it in like key strategic locations, and these kind of feel arbitrary. Like there's one on this side but not on this side. There's a lot of it here, so there's high frequency. One thing I would say about this robot or mech is that there's not really a lot of areas for the eyes to rest. You want that like 70-30 ratio where you can look at the mech and then still have areas where your eyes can rest on it. Right? And it's not like this is a good area of rest, but then this is high frequency, like medium, high, 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 high. It just, there needs to be some more areas of rest. I mean, maybe it's on the legs. Let me look at the, yeah, see, I almost feel like those, if this was more solid, this would be an area of rest. It might be suffering from too complex of detail. See, and if you put it in an environment like this, I want to see it in the snow, you know, and have like a snow pass done on top of it, or at least it affecting the snow, which I know is going to be kind of difficult because, I mean, I know it's just in the render. What does that barcode lead to? Which barcode? Talking about the one at the very, this one? I don't know. I don't know how those work versus QR codes. I mean, if this is the future, right? Maybe this would be a QR code instead. Super cool though. It's just all the stuff I'd pointed out. It's just the stuff I look at. I think the weakest thing outside of the design, just feeling more realistic or grounded. Oh, cringe. Good to know. But specifically, the materials is where it's breaking down the most. Like these are like the simple like base material passes. I can see the thought process behind the material types though. And it's just pushing it further. I would giving it that age breaks it away from the kind of 3D look, if that makes sense. Thanks for sharing. This is really really cool. It's looking good. Joel posted this. I'm struggling how to present the material. Oh, right. Yes, let's look at this. So this is actually from the challenge, from the Empire monthly challenge, which is really cool. So presenting this material, yeah, that's difficult because it is overall it's kind of a flat material other than these, right? Skills. Actually, yes. Let's go back to that really quickly. Design wise, this is going to be really difficult for this thing to stand without these feet being like, I don't know, twice the size. I would feel it's more grounded. It's a very good call, art stuff. But yeah, when it comes to this material, I think how this will show off best is I mean, I would put on a sphere and see what it looks like. There's some pretty cool elements in here. If there's a way to give just a subtle difference in depth of the stones, I think that'll help you understand and read it a little bit more. I think these cracked pieces are going way too deep, and you're seeing it duplicated. Oh, I guess that's the same. That's literally the same. I'm like, wait a minute. A higher contrast in value between the outside bricks and the inside would be interesting. Yeah. Yeah. These this damage I feel like is going really deep. I don't know if it's that deep in the reference. The only other thing I would say is maybe the surface information is just a little too noisy. Like if you tone that down, you can really like bring out the surface information in other ways, like in the roughness. And then I would say that this metal feels very strange to me. Like it doesn't. Maybe that's like brand new steel. I don't know. It doesn't feel like metal. I commented on that earlier. It does look better than previously. So this is the previous one. It doesn't have like as much aging in the roughness as you would expect. Thanks for that follow. Like these look brand new almost, minus like the kind of that like bumpy wear that's going on there. Like how do you get this inside area to kind of look dirty? I would look really closely at metals on door and window hinges and stuff just to see what they look like. The key to this type of material is it's all roughness. That is the key. Let's get back to the where we at here. Oh man, there's a lot of your guys posting in here now. Don't hesitate to ask in the server though if you don't know how to do the metal, because like there's some people in there, they know what's up. Like see this one. Feedback on texturing so far would be appreciated. Look at that material. That's kind of crazy. I feel like you're nailing that type of paint on wood here. So when I look at this one, so far this looks pretty good. There's The damage that you're doing on here is really interesting. Even the paint on this, or like the kind of like, what is it? It's not resin, is it? On the outside of the wood, and it getting chipped away and showing two different roughnesses is really interesting. Yeah, like a varnish or a lacquer. Yeah, this looks like brand new galvanized metal. Yeah, that's a good shout, Exile. So the paint is a little thin. I agree with that. Adding a little bit more of that edge depth or curling in the normal is going to help. This feels very strange to me, this type of damage here. And I guess this is like the, what is that? This, I don't even know what this is. But where you've been focusing looks pretty cool. It's grinding stone. Oh, it is. I mean, I guess some circular patterns on the stone could help. Bench grinder. So is that grinding on the top then, or is that all on the side? I'm trying to look it up. Oh, I see. I see the reference now. It's actually super cool. Let me see this. Right. Okay. So I'm viewing this at an angle that I think rotated it looks better. Like this one here. Yeah, so grind down some metal on stuff and get some lines into the stone as well. Yep, would add this with the brighter colors and maybe some height information. Yeah, you just want it to look quite used. And I would imagine this area is going to be quite. Now I understand why this edge is so, like here, because of the angle, I'm confused as to why it looks like that. And I would expect this to be dusty as all hell with like the little random particulates of whatever was being grinded on here. More scratches, definitely. Um, it's got a higher res to the table, so I'd watch out for that. This looks pretty cool though. It still has a little bit to go, but I think you're getting your materials in line pretty quickly. It just requires more time. Yeah, definitely more. Just like a dust pass would be really cool. Table is a mega scrap. What is a mega scrap? The scan? Oh, it's a mega scan. I'm like, what? What's a mega scrap? Man, these kids and their newfangled assets. Yeah, it just needs more storytelling in the material for how it's used, how old it is, where gunk and sand and dust and particulates from the metal being grinded down, where all that stuff builds up. Maybe some darkening in the handle from like all the oils of from humans' hands using the tool. Pretty cool though. Okay, we've got ZZZZ, early whip, looking for some tips on what to work on, how to make this scene pop. House composition, I'm currently adding dirt trash. It's UE5 lumen. Cheers. Let's check this out. Okay. So you've already gone pretty far. Hey, no problem. I hope that was helpful, man. Brighter colors on the handle for handle damage. Yeah, it's a good one, Exile. Materials were looking pretty good though. So this image, this is pretty far along already, right? So there's definitely some stuff to point at for feedback. Let's Oh no, really? Am I gonna not be able to? Are you guys seeing this? What is this? Okay, we're doing it the old school way. We're gonna just do this. So right now you've got some pretty sharp laser lines to watch out for. These are hard edges. They're beveled, but they're still very straight, right? And even this pipe and like this edge here and this edge, everything is very laser line-esque, right? So there are areas where you're going to need to find ways to break it up. And that can be through trash bags, putting a prop in the way, any of that stuff. So the next thing I would say is before you go any further on materials, hey, no problem, Timmy. Before you go any further on materials, I would definitely figure out what else goes back here in this alleyway, or this drop-off point for this storage, right? A truck backs up empty stuff here, right? So there should be equipment and supplies around here to help sell that. I like the addition of the boots there. While a truck backs into this, there should be some type of bumper here that protects the concrete from damage. The next thing I would say is stuff that like oils and stuff on the ground. Yeah, there's a guy standing there. So there should be like oil marks and stuff on the ground, which there might be, but it's kind of hard to tell with the lighting where it's at currently. I would expect the lighting that's here to also illuminate a little further out, just because that light should illuminate what's coming out of the back of the truck. So no oil there yet. Okay, cool. Yeah, so it's thinking about the logics behind all of that stuff, right? How do I know that I'm delivering to the right garage as well, if I'm the delivery guy, right? Like delivering supplies, or I don't know, whatever this place is taking in or exporting. There's got to be either some type of number here or like a sign that tells you what it is. The road feels a little bumpy. I mean, it's not too bad. I've seen some crazy roads, man. It's these straight lines with maybe like it needs some paint on there as well, so you know where it's at. And then this is probably a little high. Like it could be a little lower to the ground. Again, a bumper here, maybe some type of railing that you can use when you're climbing up. There's no ramp because it's this high, right? So a truck just goes up and just kind of lets everything out from that height. Yeah, some edge decals would be nice. The way that you have your brick kind of breaking up is very kind of arbitrary and random feeling. With the amount of damage or exposed brick, I would actually expect to see brick through the paint anyways in the normal. It can be like a lower MIP sample of the same brick normal to give it that soft look, or it can be like the same normal itself. Just something to go on there. Like right now, the wall feels quite, despite how damaged it is, it feels quite clean. There's no like decals for dripping or grime buildup or anything like that under the windows as well. The windows are pretty clean. They look like they could be dirtier. Like just where you can tell like there's some grunge buildup and the light's kind of not passing through it very well. Trash bags look pretty good. Maybe a little shiny, but those materials can get pretty shiny. These days they're really diffused. You've got quite a bit of props. I mean, I would place some of them out in areas. Like, is there anything that you could put here to just kind of like narrow this space out a bit more? Maybe there's some line work that they would paint down on the ground to just kind of say, don't park in this spot, we drop stuff there, right? Could be things like that. I wanted to make them look wet. Oh, okay. So with plastic, right, because it's got no porosity, they're not going to absorb the water. So that wetness is going to be in the form of droplets, right? If it was going to get wet like this, it's going to be like a raincoat soaking, like this would be what a raincoat would look like, but then with droplets on it as well. So with a trash bag that's wet from a distance, it's kind of hard to know. I don't know. Everything else doesn't feel wet, if that makes sense. Like everything else should be more saturated if it's going to be wet, because like as things become more wet, or they absorb more water, or they absorb water at all, they become darker in value and higher in saturation, depending on how porous the material is. So like plastic bags, for example, don't change value at all, right? Because it's plastic, it's not soaking in any of the water. But then you look at like concrete that's kind of mixed with rocks and pebbles and stuff like that, and then you like it rains on it and it goes from like this grayish, like chalky surface to all of a sudden you can see all the little pebbles inside of the concrete, or the mixed like concrete with rocks. Those rocks of different colors, the colors comes through based off the porosity, right? So all of a sudden you'll see a ton of different colors on a ground that's usually pretty dull looking. But yeah, we're just missing some elements and logic behind, like the way these wires are strung up isn't how, like those wires would all be like connected to the wall, as boring as that is. And you can have wires running along this. You could have, that's an opportunity to have like a little fuse box or like a little power box somewhere here. But yeah, there's just a lot of room for adding things and kind of filling up the composition. Right now it's quite empty. I would look at reference and see what else usually shows up on the sides here in these kind of back alley areas. And hopefully that helps. Thanks for submitting, by the way. I need to take your profile and Marnix and make you guys community, because you posted for critiques on stream. Not easy to put your stuff up in front of people early on. Gets easier for sure. Hey, no problem. Jonas, this is looking pretty cool, man. Dang, this is really overgrown. Let me see if we can get this into... What? Why is it that one now? I don't understand. That's so strange. I still need to install Epic Pen on here, because that's the ultimate like red penning tool. So I think when it comes to this, first of all, let's appreciate this scene. This looks really nice. Let me see if I can't just... Let me see if this changes things if I just grab this. Because that should be in the clipboard. Okay. So first of all, let's appreciate this scene. This looks pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff going on as well, and some nice differences in materials. So the ceiling also, yes, I really like the ceiling. I need to understand this space a bit more though. So this is a living room, it looks like, and a kitchen, right? And there's another room off to the side somewhere over here. Looks like maybe some type of computer or a working desk, a table, coffee table, some couches, and a lamp. So when I look at this place, the first thing I ask myself is, why is this so wide, right? I'm assuming it's because it's like those bay doors. So it's, oh, hang on here. Got WhatsApp's open. So it's 2 windows and then 2 doors, and it all looks the same, right? I'm not sure if the whole thing opens up or whatnot. I really like the overgrowth on it. But if there's any way to show that that's what that is, that would be helpful. When it comes to the ceiling, I really like the ceiling. I guess these are slats of wood. Yeah, it's missing the second door. Yeah, so there's one here, which is this one, and then there's one here. That missing door needs to be right there. I was like, needs to be somewhere. It's right there. That is not very noticeable currently. It might be worth. It makes sense where it's at though. That's fine. Someone stole it. That makes sense. Makes sense where it's at. So we'll just leave that. So these actually, by the amount of wear that's happening between each slat of wood, makes me really wonder. It initially makes me think that it's a metal, like a corrugated metal ceiling, which is very strange to me. I think the aging is maybe gone a little too far in a few spots. Like if you could take this area and just make it more white with a little bit of discoloring, then you can have all of that damage and wear coming from this spot. Because then I'm like, oh, I see this, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's wood. Like that's definitely a wood beam that's cracked. I would fully commit to this as well. Like right now that's cracked, right? It fractured here and snapped here as well. I mean, it looks like it. Yeah, it had to have bent somewhere in here. Anyways, I would just bend this down here, do this, and then all of these pieces of wood, I would just commit to that type of damage, because once that gives, man, the whole space starts to fall apart. And then you can have all of your wear, your edge wear and stuff coming from there, because that's where all the moisture's coming through. It's, of course, it's come through the door as well, but like it's just the ceiling's going to break down from there outwards, right? So after that, I would say you probably need to do something to make this side room separate from the rest of the room a little bit more. Let's see if we can't just like eyeball this. Ugh. It's gonna go out that way. Just gonna copy it. If you Control Shift V, it'll paste it in the exact same spot. Yeah, that's darkening. Midtones. Let's go. Something to get that to separate from this wall here is going to help a lot. You can see how like it'd even be like taking this wall itself and just making it darker. Of course, it's a little too dark, but I think you know what I mean. Overall, it's looking really cool though. This grass, if you can find ways to get the grass material on the ground as well. Yeah, broken glass would be super nice, because then you can get some nice reflectivity of little shards. But right now you can see there's a line here, right? This line. Finding ways to break that up is going to be key. And that can be a combination of adding grass into the ground material that's combined with the dirt. Or like decals, something just to like help you alleviate that edge and how dark it is or how bright it is versus the rest of the material. As you can see, it's there, it's just not. Yeah. I guess I would expect some stuff on the table when you get a chance. Maybe a few things just on the side here. A book or something. Some cups. Tipped over cup or whatever. Because you want to be able to... Your eye wants to flow like this, right? You want to go like this and look here. Maybe this corner is a little dark. I think really punching up the details where the light is or the brightness, it does wonders. So you can see, you can see how that's popping a bunch more. And it actually makes the shadows darker because of that contrast difference. But this is super cool. It's looking good. Looking really good. There's a straight line here. There's a great opportunity to just add some ivy. Just a little, oh nice. Just a little bit of green up here. Maybe on this side. And you just, oh, I'm gonna just hack this together. Just something up there. That looks terrible. But yeah, I think you get what I'm saying. Super cool. It's looking real good. You can see how much this corner is popping now. And same with this one. You're getting a whole lot more detail for like what's there. I kind of wonder if like, no? Oh, right. It's on this one. You want that glass to really kind of stick out. Same with this door. Separates it from the room. So much more like in your face. Even that chair. It just feels like you're not getting a full range. Naughty Dog is hiring. Run now. Hints, hints. Really nice. Really, really nice stuff. Let's jump to the next one. Man, we've got so many to go through. Casey, dude, you're posting stuff. I love it. Group project based on BioShock Infinite with a London theme. Various pics follow. Everything work in progress. We are midway. Man, you posted a lot of images, bro. A lot going on here. The first thing that sticks out to me immediately is the leaf colors are just really like neon green. Buildings look cool. I'm not sure what this means. It's like a ghost version of the... Oop. Yeah, I can see it still UVing stuff. It's a shader. They're tears from the original. Oh, cool. Jonas, no problem, man. It's looking really cool. Nice job. Delicious. Yeah, so I really like all of the colors here. I think if we had a BioShock Infinite screenshot, really help us understand the color. Are you guys trying to match the color palette, or are you doing your own thing? We're doing more of a London theme. Okay. Just know that like the way the colors are, there's very little contrast in the materials themselves. Right now, I'm not seeing too much contrast in the materials. Is there anything in particular you want me to comment on? Because I think it might be a little early to comment on this. It looks like there's a scene that exists. So to me, there's no composition currently. I don't know like what angle. Composition has a set camera, right? The materials feel very early. They feel first pass. Like you got the colors in and the normals in. I don't see any logic right now to the roughness. Whenever you have holes like this, I would just patch them with some type of polygon. Just so that we understand the space as it is. That's super interesting. The position wise, this feels really strange being like, see how narrow this is here? That's a gameplay nightmare. Like players get stuck there trying to pass each other. Ooh. If it wasn't multiplayer, this still like you'd want this to be more central to here. Right now it's very offset. Do you have like a top view of this actually? Because you want to get into level design. You just post it in chat, maybe. But there's a lot going on here. It's currently very difficult to read the space. A lot of Bioshock is using atmosphere or like atmospheric fog that's colored or tinted in order to separate elements out. That helps immensely with reading spaces this big. Let's see if I can find like a good. Open image new tab. Yeah, like even though this isn't the same city, right? Like London, you guys are going London based. You can see everything's leading towards a subject, and then it's all vista work, and then a path that you travel down. It's very linear, so it's really understanding those aspects of it. Oh, you posted it in the. Okay, I see it. Yeah, see, this view helps me understand it a bit more. Can you actually use these rails? This is super cool. But like this looks like a big centerpiece, right? And you don't see that at all, at least when I was looking here. Let me see. So I would actually frame that. Build everything around that centerpiece. Right now you've got trees in the way of it. See that? Like don't look down here, look up there. Frame everything into that, which means you're gonna need stuff to the right here. There's a whole lot of like dark shadows going on, which looks like it's just missing ambient lighting. And just look at like the framing of your space. Like these feel very tall. I don't know if those are supposed to be like, those feel like they should be more planters and not blocking the space, right? So like if we go back to this view, so you'd want to clear the trees out a bit so that you can see the structure, and then you would also want to take these. How do I describe this? So if you imagine these are the, this isn't even big enough. There we go. These are the high points, right? You've got like stairs here. You've got high wall here. Oh, that's a overhang there. So that doesn't need that. So you've got these high points. I'm gonna assume this is a high point, and then you have to like find a way up there. Either way, these should not be high points. They should be lower, so that way you can see the entire playable space that you're in. Right now, you're just swimming between a lot of high areas, right? Like this is a giant wall. These are giant walls. Hopefully that makes sense. There are stairs. Okay. I would lower these. Those feel too high to me. You can make the rod taller or something to accommodate for it. But there's a lot going on. I think I'd have to actually see it in motion in order to understand like what we're looking at. But yeah, the flow is here. So just make sure that you're pushing that flow. And everything guides you that way. Because like you come down this way, what's pulling you this direction is this. So you should be seeing that. Maybe it'll make you want to go up there, even though you know you want to go that way. Nothing's inviting me over here right now because of the trees. All right, Grizzlewood. Yo, buddy. Recent project and my first environment. Been trying to get better with Unreal. Was a learning project to set myself over summer. Hey, no problem, Casey. Hope that was helpful. Any feedback on things to keep in mind in future environments would be grand. All right, let's check this out. Yo, this already looks great for our first environment. Let me just make sure I close some of this stuff. Cool. I hope you guys in chat are doing all right. I'm just kind of going. Thanks for hanging out. If you're enjoying the stream, don't forget to follow. You can also check out the link tree. We've got a YouTube channel. We've got a Discord. It's where all this stuff's going down. So let's take a look. Hey, Curious, have a good night. Oh, this looks pretty cool. Oh, nice. Good asset breakdown too. So this is your first environment. Fun little project set myself for the start of the summer. Created my first environment. Aim with the project to keep it lightweight and focus on learning through experimenting with different techniques. But wasn't familiar with it. Mainly been doing props and characters. Nice. Yeah, this is really cool. There's a really strong consistency with the oh, you got custom audio on top of it? Man, that's cool. There's a pretty clear consistency with this. Let me see what the looks like high res here. This looks great. I think when it comes to the overall image here, let's see here. I think in the future, looking at these frames, man, I hope you guys can see this drawing. Right now you've got the high point is this building, right? And then you got trees here. I think separating these trees a little bit from the blacksmith building would help. The scale in the building feels a little strange. But if we look at more of the framing, I think taking this structure and just kind of pushing it off to the side a bit more, it becomes more of a backdrop. Be careful with, like, I just doodled this, right? But be careful about the heights of these. Maybe that should go higher, like this. Let's see if I can follow the... There we go. Something like that. But just giving the building more room to breathe is nice. The grass feels a little tall. It works in some areas, or maybe it's not even that it's tall, that it's more straight. Some dark parts in the tree leaves stick out. Yeah. But you can see, like, the grass is really tall pretty consistently, and I think if the grass was shorter along the edges of the pathway, that could be a little nicer visually. And then maybe, like, curving the grass more in directions would be nice. The smoke here also looks really it looks like it's getting thick too quickly, like diameter wise. Maybe if this was maybe if it was a little narrower, like it's starting here and here, right? If it was, and then if you gave it a direction, like have the wind carrying it, right? That'll help a lot with the kind of logic of the smoke. And then any of the, I think you've got these clouds back here. Are these placed? Right now they don't look like they're facing you. Let me see if they... Yeah, those clouds feel like they're going somewhere else, and they're not really facing you. Yeah, that bark texture is ace, man. You have some really nice texturing skills. The roof is quite interesting on here. It hadn't stuck out to me, but it's different. Are those voluminous? Shannon, what is that? That's funny. That's amazing. Boop. My head. No, this is cool though. I mean, there's a lot of consistency going on here. I think, see how these pieces of wood are stacked together? If you get some ambient occlusion or some type of value shift where they're kind of meeting, you get a lot more like depth and volume to them. Melissa, dude, spot on. Some mushrooms would be cool. Which, by the way, if you haven't watched it, there's a really interesting fungus mushroom documentary on Netflix right now. It's quite interesting. I was thinking about Melissa the entire time Fuzel and I were watching that. I was like, wow, this is crazy. There's a lot of swords when it could be like a fence, right? Like maybe there's some fencing here or fencing somewhere around here, because it feels like there's no real structure out here, and there's just this blacksmith working in the back, just doing his thing. So keep that in mind. Having the swords closer to the actual structure, I think, would make more sense to the blacksmith hut. Man, that is cool. Yeah, I think if you could get that type of attention, I can tell that the attention was really put on like the elements that are closest to you, which is great. That's some good moves right there. Nice dance moves, nice artist dance moves. Because this looks real nice, and where you focus on looks really good, and everything else is quite soft and kind of relaxing. I think with these clouds, don't hesitate to, I think those are all volumetric. Don't hesitate to just paint them on cards and move them into place, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a composition for you. It's not a playable experience in that sense. Super cool though. Very, very nice stuff. Yeah, maybe like the micro elements could help. But I mean, this looks awesome. I love the addition of like some larger rocks in the grass just to break it up. But I would look at the variation in the height of the grass and then just see what you can do. I think there are billboards like the bushes. Pretty sure it's the same shader, just change the alpha. Oh, interesting. Yeah, they're not facing you, right? Yeah, they're like tilting. You can see here, like it kind of is your, wait, is the bushes billboards? Wait, I gotta see this. Do they rotate and like continue to look at you? You don't really get a chance to see much of that. I think utilizing some of those bushes somewhere back here could be nice. Just something to, dang, that's cool. Oh, really nice addition with the falling leaves. Maybe a few more and it would be, man, it's so soft. Let's see, with all the swords in the ground here, it feels like a battle happened. Not so much like a, oh wow, there's like so much more going on back there. Yeah, it's overall is very nice. It's, I think where it's breaking down is in the elements in the background are just very difficult to realize. Fallen heroes. Really nice stuff, Grizzle. Oh right. Let's see here, Tim. Invisibility device Mark II. Yo. That looks like a whole lot of work, man. Let's look at the concept as well. Holy. Okay. This is great. Because there's a lot we can talk about here. Well, let's see. Let's see if I can screenshot it. I'm just gonna go old school. And then let's not that one. Let's grab this one. So the concept you're going off of is very painted looking, right? And that leaves a lot to be kind of figured out in a sense. One thing I'm noticing right off of the bat is the amount of detail is pretty overwhelming. It's very noisy, right? I changed my mind and stayed. Nice, Curious. Happy to hear, Curious. So these this piece is very busy, right? So any opportunities you have to make it less busy while still making the concept as it is, you should do. And so a lot of the elements that you're adding, yeah, see, it's in the concept as well. All this rusting and the scratches and damage and aging, it's like all over the place, right? So you can see on the frame here, it's mostly rusted. All this is like rust. And then there's few elements where you actually see the metal. So I think going that route and really like rusting the whole thing, and then just kind of scraping away some of the rust occasionally to show some metal, is probably the way to go. You did a better job with the rust or with the weld lines than I see in here. Those are the whole concept's super busy though, so it's really difficult to create this piece, I think. It really needs some ambient occlusion in order to get this like inner area to be darker, just so that you get some more elements of not only depth but areas where the eye can rest. But yeah, when I look at this, I think what I would do is, that part was a struggle. Yeah. I think what I would do is go through, take all the materials and just do a base material pass on each material type and remove all damage and aging and wear and tear. And then go back and strategically position certain levels of details there. Like you can see there's even some green in here, which is quite interesting. I don't know why that's there, but maybe it's coming from this paint. The thing that I think's breaking down the most, other than the fact that you have to do so much detail work, is that the edges are just, the geometry is quite simple. So I really push yourself to kind of go outside of that. Like I can count the edges and see the hard edges, right? Getting these to a point where I'm not seeing those, like that's important. You don't want people to be able to break down your work into wireframe without wireframe, right? Because like I can count you know what I mean? I can count the edges. And so this aspect of it looks very basic, whereas other elements in here look a bit more detailed, but have some elements where I'm like, oh, like this was rounded, right? And then I can tell by the way this comes out and this comes out that those are just extruded and like what would you call it? Extruded in a shell aspect way where they come outwards in the normal directions as well. Let me see what it looks like in the, oh yeah, it does have that curve to it, but it dips down as well. You see there's elements in here that are trying to explain how the stuff was put together, and a lot of the times I'm not seeing those details, whereas like everything else is here. Also with the damage and the aging and stuff, a lot of the times there's not going to be normal information to support that unless it's really deep damage. Yeah, I mean, if you went really stylized with the materials and just kind of went with this like simplified material route, like see this is very noisy here. I think if you stepped away from that could be better too, and went with more of like a smoother metal, that would help a lot. So like just trying to tone down the amount of detail you're adding in the material is going to support the amount of geometry you have. The whole, I mean, the concept's overkill. So there's a lot of elements that are just kind of that you're having to fight against. You can see too, like your copper is really brand new copper, so it's really vibrant. Whereas in here, you could kind of like, you can darken it right? In order to get that to clear up a bit. Man, this is a difficult piece for sure. I would try another pass on the materials and then from there just call it good. Because like it's going to be difficult to make this look really nice in 3D. So really focusing on just the material work, I think, is where it's at. And then like that big metal framing, adding some extra bevels and details in there, and trying to think of scale, because there's some, oh my god, the scale and the concept's even strange, so never mind on scale. Just match the concept. Yeah, that's an intense one, man. I don't envy you. But you're really getting there with it. I would just take another pass on the materials. All right, we got David Orion, the PSL 54 rifle. Yo, buddy. Your presentation is always pretty crazy. It's always turned up a little bit, you know, in the like, ooh, like crunchy. Yeah. So let's take a look. So there's a lot of storytelling going on in the way your roughness is. Oh man, I love these presentations. The pressed wood pattern is a nice touch, because like as you shave it down, I don't even know. I would say maybe it's sharpened a little too much. The whole dark or the whole light background is pretty hard on the eyes. I can see there's a gradient there, but I think pushing it down a little bit. Oh man, that's a spicy meatball. Oh my gosh. Hang on. Let me see if this is just gonna paste over. Nice. Okay. What is that, Trash? What do you what's that one supposed to be? This, is there a shader you were using for this one? Like a smart material that does this banding for you? It like layers it in. This is that's very cool. I would say it is a little too crunchy. It's a little too Captain Crunch for me. This material as well is very busy, so it makes it really difficult to look at for a long period of time. Masked by hand in mixing materials. What? I feel like you could find you could build a smart material that layers it like this, that's maybe projected in that sense. That's crazy, man. But yeah, there's some really nice attention to detail in specific parts of the mesh, like this stuff here, this one here. You can see there's like wherever there's like real tension points, like see there's this directional scraping that's happening here. That's really nice. It is very crunchy though. Well, it's too crunchy for me. Let's see if I can just select subject. Come on. Let's see how well that worked. Not bad. That is not a bad selection. There's a little bit of feathering issues here. Yeah, this looks really nice. I think with these, just as a little heads up for these types of feathering issues, if it doesn't refine itself well enough in here, you can always go to the layer and go in matting and then defringe. You can defringe by like 2 pixels. It basically samples colors inward by 2 pixels and pushes them out. So we hit OK on that, and that should help us a little bit. Not too much. In some areas it helps. Yeah, so I mean, I think taking these types of elements and maybe if you, let's just do like a Gaussian blur behind it, like really heavy, because then you get like the family of colors. right? All just kind of overcooked it on the crunch. uh, but I think you get the idea. I mean, you could even like with that kind of backdrop, you can also what is it? You could add a drop shadow, which sounds super cheese, but it'll do a lot for the background. So if we do a drop shadow, push it to the side here, turn the opacity up, and then just make it really broad, it'll just float it off of the wall, off of the backdrop. And then this black doesn't have to be black, right? Maybe this could be like really, oops, maybe it can be really red to begin with, and then we'll just tone this down. When we know how you like your red, that red color. Let's see here. Bring in a gradient, something like that. That's kind of cool. Anyways, man, this looks really nice, and I would say my only real feedback is that you're just going too crunchy. You want that portfolio, huh? Yeah, I think when I did the critique, this one is the one that popped out to me and was like, dude, what? Look at this. Oh, that was my phone cover, my phone background for a little while. Let's get you that there. But yeah, tone down the crunch, and I think the material type on the gun maybe, or on the scope is a little too. There's too much contrast in that material type. But against like a scanned material, this looks nice, man. Very well done. Let's keep going here. We got about 20 minutes to go. Ah, yes. If you would like your stuff feedbacked on, just drop it in the critiques, the week 32 critiques thread that's going on in the critiques channel, and you can do that through here. Our Discord link there. Super nice. You can be strategic with that sharpening as well, right? I think you've probably seen me in stream do it a couple times where I will do a really heavy sharpening pass like you have over the whole thing, and then you drop a mask on, kill it all, and then paint it in where you want it, and then just slowly turn it up. Recently switched to 2K screen, and do notice on most of my work the sharpening issue. Nice. Yeah, these are nice though, man. Well done. All right, Luca or Lucas. Oh yeah, it looks like you toned down the information, and the directional stuff on the clip is a little bit better as well. I love the stripped sticker. Great detail. So this, I guess, this is the older one, right? Yeah, because this is the newer one. The newer one does look better. It is missing a lot of the, like, you're starting to get it a little bit here. Both are new? What? It doesn't feel as noisy in the normal here as it does in this one. I mean, maybe it's because I'm able to get closer. But be careful with how sharp these get in the text and the numbers. Not sure which one is open. I opened both of them. So the bottom one looks like the original one that we looked at earlier. Machining marks add a ton of detail to make it pop. Yeah, see, machining marks is Orden, is that like a do you have anywhere that you're looking at that type of stuff as reference? Oh, nice, Dan, thanks. Is there anywhere that you look for that type of reference Orden. Because you can see there's the hints of machine work here in the material, but it's just not present enough. And I think if you can push that forward, that's gonna give you a whole lot to work with. Let me see if we can. I mean, it's definitely crunchier, but like, as long as you don't mind that we look at the. Is this the? No, that's a concept from the previous one. Let's go down and look at this one, for example. I think we already have it in Photoshop. We can bring this one over. It's like a lot of the. Oops, nope, that's not gonna. Thanks. Hang on here. Got some nice ones for the scope render. But like, yeah, where do you usually go for that stuff? As you can see, there's a whole lot of storytelling that's happening in the surface. I would say it's maybe a little exaggerated in some cases. Where the heck is my? There it is. But like, you could push those details further, right? And getting that contrast in there. Let me just see what happens if I sharpen this. So what I usually do is like a high pass. You can see it brings in those crunchier values, and you just want to get those smaller details that you're wanting to pop, and then you go overlay, and you can see the overlay, it brings the crunch up on that. And then what I usually do is I add a mask, invert that mask, and then paint it where I want that detail. Right, so if I want that spot to pop and I want this spot to pop and like around this edge here, you can see it's starting to show up there. And you just really like crank it up and think about anything areas that move. Lighting was a bit extreme. Just uploaded one with the lights toned down. Oh, nice. Yeah, that helps. See, I don't know what these details are. Like, is there, now that we're looking at David's account here, let's just look at some of these materials. It's like, yeah, see the cut lines from the machining pass, where actually a machine like shaved off that part of the metal. That's opportunities to like just get in there. Let's see, this is the newer one. Let's bring this one in. See how soft this is here? And like, to get those holes, the machine draws lines through those and like just cuts those straight through. And then it's same with the inside of the chamber here, where a lot of like directional action happens. You're gonna see those lines as well. Same with the clip, or the magazine rather. Let's see if we can't see. Yeah, and that machining, those machine lines, you can push those in your roughness. And that'll really help you get that detail. Oh, there's no clip in this one. Let me see if there's a. See, there's these lines here. Those are pretty heavy lines. I want to say those are from the sliding into the gun and getting into position, but that could be from the machining as well. Some older stuff here. Man, yeah, you're really serious about those machining, like how it's built. So it's a combination of those types of details, and then where the materials wear from use. and really getting tight details in the right areas. Like, see how it's soft around here, but then it tightens up and becomes quite sharp there. Yeah, it just needs to be pushed a little bit further in the material work. And then this type of material is pretty interesting. Yeah, I guess it's just a matter of like getting the roughness to hit right. But yeah, cool. Cool. All right, let's look at Dan's. Dan, good to see you, man. It's been a while. As in, I was thinking about when we were hanging out a long time ago. Oh, wait a minute. I'm like trying to open each one of these images. You tricked me, man. Man, is the text in the back just like that? Stereo. Really got to drive home stereo. It's what sells the Walkman, you know? Oh man, individual left right volume? Dude. I remember playing with those, just like switching. So made music so much more interesting. Road trip track in there, perfect. Man, there's some wear on this for sure. You had one? I did have one. I used to put it on my hip and then ride down the hills with my skateboard. And then when they switched to CDs, it was all about that no skip, man. You had a red one? Yeah. I even had a mini disc. So this is pretty worn. But I mean the materials look pretty good. Let me see if let's see if this copy's over. Nope. Cool. I'm just gonna grab this one. And that's super weird that the print screen is not working how I'm expecting it to. Yours was yellow? Awesome. You know what's really scary is I remember stealing my dad's man, what was that? The Bohemian Rhapsody cassette tape that he had from Queen, right? I was like, man, this is so cool. And I was listening to it in the bathroom in middle school or something like that. And my friend and I were like in the bathroom together. And we're like, yeah, dude, it's so cool. And we were like, oh, this is awesome. And then we dropped it. And I was like, oh no. And like, we dropped it and I was like, oh no. And we were playing with it, trying to figure out, make sure everything's okay. And then I realized that the record button was on. And I was like, oh no. And I pressed some buttons and then I pulled it all, like stopped it all. And I'm like, all right, cool. And I brought it home and I'm like, Dad'll never know, right? Put the cassette tape back where it was. And then we were on a road trip and freaking we were listening to the song and it didn't even occur to me. This is months later. We were listening to the song and then the music stops and you hear two kids freaking out in a bathroom like, oh, did you drop it? Is it okay? Oh my gosh, I think it's recording. And that's the first time my dad heard me cuss. And my dad looked at me and I'm like sitting in the passenger seat and I'm like, oh man, I'm screwed. And he looks at me and he just starts laughing. He was laughing so hard. Oh man, I got lucky. I could have died. Anyways. Oh man, I could have died. Anyway, this looks pretty accurate to what I remember. I mean, I should probably look up the Walkman cassette player. Oh yeah, the super old one. This is the classic one that had the orange foam on the. You like that story? I bet my dad still has that somewhere. He like kept it. Like, I should tell him about that. He'll probably find it and then be like, check it out, man. Yeah, so this looks pretty accurate, dude. Let's see if I can open this picture. Man, that's a really low res picture. Was there the possibility of taking high res pictures of this? Dude. Yeah, this thing's old. Let's see if I can open the image in a new tab. I mean, this kind of looks like a render as well. Let's just grab this. Because I think you're nailing the material. I think where it's kind of breaking down is the surface noise in the normal. Probably just needs to be toned down. Or that type of noise needs to be added into the roughness and not the normal. Is it broken? Let's see what the other colors are here when we get at it at a glancing angle. Yeah, I think it's that type of detail. Putting that in a roughness will get you the look you're going for. The scratches, I mean, that's pretty accurate. Mine was really beat up, man. Yeah, like, why is there a mic on there? Why would you do that to us, man? You're just wanting us to get in trouble. Play radio. Oh my god, Melissa. Anyways, this looks cool. Well done. And I think it's just a matter of getting this material to have that shine you're looking for. It almost feels like that noise would not only be in the roughness, but maybe even in the metalness, which sounds dangerous. You're not supposed to do that. But I think that would give you that metallic-y painted look you're looking for. You know? On my webcam, just there we go. Cool. Cool. But yeah, nice. I really, dude, I'm digging this spot here. And the fingerprints and the roughness is really nice. Might not fit the theme, but the Sony Walkman text would look cool as an IBM style logo. But a more dense scratched aluminum type logo. Ooh. Yeah, sounds pretty illegal, right, Dan? So the reason I say that is because that, like, to get satin, that's kind of how you would fake that before we built shaders to help you do it, right? You would add these types of metallic attributes to simulate a satin like material. And there's like this little bit of sparkle in that. You might be able to do it in the normal, but in a flat way, where you're just changing the directions. Like, what is that type of metal? There's a metal breakup that's like that. Anyways, really cool, man. It needs the earbuds. It needs and this maybe needs to be more saturated. It needs the earphones with the foam. Yeah, the galvanized pass that you can get in Substance Painter. If you look at it, it's actually adding it to your normals. It's basically paint with metal particles, if you remember correctly. Oh, yeah, that would make sense. All right, we got Rusted Faith, and then we've got Artfrex, and then I think we're done. Zinc. No, really? All right. Looking for overall feedback on the scene, especially lighting and materials. Are there any issues that stand out? Oh, Artfrex is just giving some feedback. Good job, Artfrex. I didn't give you too much feedback, Dan. I gave you a childhood story. But dude, it's looking pretty cool. Man, I should clip that video and tell my dad about it. Okay, let's see here. Looking for overall feedback on scene, especially lighting and materials. Are there any issues? So this is a weird lighting scenario, right? I don't know what time of day this is. This looks like maybe it's like a nighttime. A childhood story was way better. So that I can't tell if this is nighttime or not. It looks like it's supposed to be, but there's a light source that's quite warm, right? Tree looks pretty cool. It's dusk. Man, you know dusk and nighttime in PBR is really difficult to do. Eric, I don't know if that should go on the YouTube channel. Yeah, I think when it comes to lighting, it's just confusing because the light is very warm. If the sun was setting, the sky should be matching it a little bit more. Or if it's dusk, the sun's rising. Or no, dusk is setting. Dawn is rising, right? It's the dawn of a new day. But yeah, it's, let's see here. Material wise, everything is very similar in values and tone. I think what you actually need to be doing is trying to find ways to get the materials to interact with each other, right? Where it's like either decals or masks that show like, okay, this is where the wood is. This is where the wood color drips onto the stone and kind of melts into it. Those types of details and information is kind of what pulls everything together. Like scale wise, if this is all the same wood material, if you're just scaling it, not scaling the UVs, then the textile density of the wood pattern is different per piece of wood versus like if you're scaling it and the UVs are scaling at the same time, right? So you got to watch out for that because up here the wood pieces actually feel a bit more flat. But then the smaller ones feel more rounded. So you got to watch out for that. Whenever you can do something to like, let's see if I can just grab this. Bring this into Photoshops. Into the Photoshops. So if these are on the same plane, like depth-wise, doing something along that edge is really gonna help. Like dirty edge wall. Let's see if I can. Trying to find a. There we go. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Looking for a good. That kind of works. Open a new tab. So let's just copy this image and paste. Oh, yes, it did. Yes, it did. Cool. Okay, I'm just going to invert this, which makes no sense at all. There we go. So getting this type of detail is going to work wonders when it comes to like trying to get some logic behind what's happening on the wall and like where it's sitting. You see, like even if it was not that let's bring this back a bit. Even if it wasn't that much, just to like try and separate the elements from each other, I still think if the stones were a little bit larger on the top, you could get a nice shadow under there, which will help you understand like, okay, this is the top of it, and then it goes down. So understanding the space and like how it's put together is really important. Let's see if like, so we got on a multiply. Let's bring this like that. We'll scale this in a bit. But you can see like how much that's doing for bringing in those elements. I mean, the same could be said further up, like just getting some type of breakup around the edges here Yeah, everything's very uniform in the roughness. Definitely Exile. So you can think like, okay, where there's metal on these barrels, like maybe make that metal pop out more. Making the metal pop out on this more would be good. This path is traversed a lot, right? So maybe some decals that help you understand where there's a lot of footprints, or where the wood has been stepped on so much and traversed on so much that it's actually become smoother versus the rest of the wood material. And just this gap here, like where the side of the wood meets the walkable wood, that's an opportunity to put like leaves. For example, you've got a tree here, put some leaves on the ground to help like understand like where the leaves go when they die. Gives you the opportunity, like the tree basically gives you a free pass to put leaves everywhere around this area and really like kind of detail out those areas so that it stuff comes together. It has the logic behind it. There's not the weird like straight edges where geometry meets geometry and you can tell like, okay, that's like a hard edge. And then like this glass, for example, making it feel like there's light behind it versus like in front of it. It feels like right now it's in front of it. Let me see what happens if I push this around a bit. No, I can't really you just invert. Oh my god. I'm just trying to find some info here. So you can see where these lines are. I wonder if this will not work. I can almost guarantee it. But you're kind of getting it here with the support, these metal bars. If these were darker, that's going to help you a lot with understanding. Or if it's more reflective, like if it's this metal, it needs to have that shine, and I think you get a much more of a reaction visually from it, instead of like it's so lost inside of the detail of the glow that it doesn't feel like there's lighting happening on the inside coming outwards, right? And that's just I mean, you just need to have a mask of where you don't want the light to come through, and the emissive will do the rest of the work. Let's see what else we got here. And then if it's like dusk, I guess I expect your shadows to be darker. I mean, everything should be darker. Oh, whoops. Hang on here. There we go. So you're not really even using much the full range of the, and everything is very similar in value or in color. Very similar. I wonder if you can, what happens if I go into here? Let's see what happens here. Okay, we're in the camera raw settings here. Let's go with where are we at here? Temperature. I mean, you can see it. That seems more like a nighttime scenario, right? You don't want your black values to go too dark. The shadows, it's not really picking up on the shadows. Sometimes this thing works, sometimes it's like questionable. But you can see just the difference in like how many more colors are there versus like when you go to a warmer value. Because like when you introduce a yellow or an orange, those types of colors, they pull the color out of everything. So I'm surprised we were able to get any colors out of it. I mean, you can kind of see here, but everything's becoming the same color because of that color itself. So look at some pictures as well of what dusk looks like and what the sky looks like. That'll help you a lot. But cool. Okay. I think we're done. I think we're done here. There is a critiques thread. It's going to be auto archived at the end of the day. Actually, I'll probably just archive it now, because if I don't, then anyone messaging in it will unarchive it. So if I archive it, it'll just lock. But going forward, this will be how it is. I'll show you. So, oh man. So you've got critiques. We'll have a week number and then critiques. And then when we're done with that thread for the stream, I'll just right click and then I will archive the thread. And whenever you need to see it, you just go up here when you're in critiques, and you will see you'll see threads, and you can go to archived and you'll have it in here. And we'll always have the weeks in there. So praise be to threads. Praise be. Dude. No, thank you everyone for hanging out. I really appreciate you guys chilling. And for the people who stuck around for my weird story. But yeah, thank you, and I will see you on Monday. And I think we're either working on the alien pillar or we're working on the plant. Yeah.